whole person instead. There in that complaint from the father of the assembly line process of manufacturing, we have the crux of the message that I'm here to deliver to you today. And it's this. You and I are here for a reason. We're not just some walking, talking meat suits. Our lives have meaning and purpose, and that creates opportunities beyond our wildest imaginations. You see, Henry Ford was talking about skills in your hands. But the truth is, there's no separating the skills in our hands from the longings in our hearts. And what our hearts long for is meaning, purpose. Because purpose changes everything. Now, I don't have time today to tell you about all the ways that purpose changes everything about your life, so I'm going to focus on one very small piece. And that's the way purpose can absolutely change and transform the way you do business, the way you do your job, the way you run your company, and everything about your work life. And before we go any further, let me just define for a moment what I mean by purpose, because there's a lot of confusion about this. The way I see it, purpose comes in two forms. The first is what I call a micro-purpose. You get up in the morning and you brush your teeth for the purpose of preventing tooth decay, and so you'll have minty, fresh breath. We get to the office and we go to work. The company we work for has dozens of micro-purposes, selling products and services, keeping people employed, and providing a return to the shareholders among them. And micro-purposes are important because they bring form and function to our days. They give us minty, fresh breath and keep us employed. But they're not enough. Because there's another kind of purpose, and that's the kind that changes everything. It's what I call a meta-purpose. The prefix meta implies beyond the ordinary, and it also implies change. So a meta-purpose is beyond the ordinary purpose you might think about every day, and it's transformational. It's like the keel of a ship. Without it, you're going to be blown from one shore to the next by whatever micro-purpose wind happens to come your way. And any movement you have, any forward progress you make, it's going to be accidental at best. Let me give you an example of the difference of these two. Think about the Harley-Davidson Motorcycle Company. We've talked a lot about motorcycles in this room. Harley-Davidson has dozens of micro-purposes. Even selling motorcycles is a micro-purpose because their meta-purpose is connecting people with the freedom of the open road. You see the difference between that and selling you a motorcycle? Now, how does this work? How does this kind of purpose change everything? One little piece for you today about how this works, and it happens in 3 steps. The first is purpose drives culture. When I was in college, I had a part-time job working for a men's clothing store chain. First week I was there, the manager took me aside and he said, "Tom, you need to be so good at selling suits that you can convince that guy you're talking to take the $100 out of his wallet that he's put aside to make his car payment the next day and buy that suit from you instead." If we were to translate that into that company's meta-purpose, it might be something like, sell as many suits as you can. Compare that to connecting our friends and our customers with the freedom of the open road. Now, just take each of those for a moment without judging either one good or bad, and just start to imagine the kinds of people, the kinds of employees that would be attracted to those different types of meta-purposes. What kind of people would be attracted to apply for and work for a company that has each of those kinds of meta-purposes? So purpose drives culture. Second step, culture drives brand. Now, everybody here already knows that your brand is a lot more than your corporate logo and even the colors you use on your letterhead. And I would say that today, in this environment, your brand is even about a lot more than the products and services you sell. Your brand is your differentiating factor, what sets you apart from your competitors. And today, I don't care how unique your products and services are, with the way that people can connect all over the world, somewhere, someplace, somebody is going to duplicate what you do. And there's a good chance they can do it for less money to your customers. And if you try to compete on price, you're not going to differentiate today. Culture is the greatest single differentiator you can have in your company, because no one else anywhere can reproduce it exactly. Culture drives brand. The third phrase. A brand built on culture, built on purpose, changes customers into evangelists. It changes transactions into relationships. Think again about Harley-Davidson motorcycles. How many of you have companies that you have customers who will literally tattoo your corporate logo on their arms? Why? Because the brand built on that culture, built on that purpose, attracts like-minded people who become evangelists for the Harley-Davidson motorcycle company. So I'm going to leave you with this one more idea about how purpose changes everything. And it's these words of wisdom. If you want to build a ship, don't recruit people to gather wood, and don't give them tasks and work to do. Instead, teach them to love